The massive Ravager command ship hung in the darkness of space like a dormant predator. Its black hull, covered in twisted spikes and battle scars, stretched for miles. Inside the ship's central chamber, Commander Black stood before the ancient hunting trophies of his species, his scaled skin reflecting the dim red lighting. "Another solar system discovered," he growled, his claws tapping against the control panel. "Sector 7, previously unexplored. 9 planets, one showing clear signs of civilization." The crew around him worked silently, each member of his species standing over 7 feet tall, their natural armor gleaming. They were the undisputed rulers of the galaxy, having hunted and conquered thousands of species over the past 10,000 years. Their technology was unmatched, their strength unchallenged, and their hunger for conquest never satisfied. "Show me the scans," Black ordered. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a blue-green planet third from its sun. "Interesting. Oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere, vast oceans, multiple climate zones." His second-in-command, Lieutenant Gray, stepped forward. "The civilization appears to be in its early space age, Commander. They've barely reached their own moon. Primitive nuclear weapons, combustion engines, and basic digital technology." Black's lips curled into what passed for a smile among his kind, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "Perfect. It's been too long since we've had a proper hunt. The last 3 systems were too easy, barely any resistance at all. The Ravagers lived for the hunt. Each new species they discovered was tested, evaluated, and if found worthy, hunted until either submission or extinction. Their massive ships carried enough firepower to destroy entire continents, but where was the sport in that? They preferred to draw out their conquests, to savor the fear and desperation of their prey. "What else do we know about them?" Black asked, his yellow eyes fixed on the rotating planet. "They call their planet Earth," Gray reported. "The dominant species appears to be bipedal mammals. They're divided into different territories they call countries. They fight among themselves frequently." This news pleased Black even more. Divided prey was easy prey. Population: several billion. Excellent. A proper hunting ground at last. Black moved closer to the hologram, studying the continents. "Look at them, building their little cities, fighting their little wars, completely unaware that they're being watched. They probably think they're the apex species of their world." The other Ravagers in the command center chuckled. They'd heard similar stories countless times before. Every species thought they were special until they met the Ravagers. Some fought back with primitive weapons. Others tried to negotiate. A few attempted to flee. In the end, it made no difference. The Ravagers always won. "Prepare the scout ships," Black commanded. "I want detailed information about their military capabilities, their command structures, their weaknesses. We'll start with a small incursion. Test their responses, their tactics. Let's see if they can provide even a slight challenge." As his crew rushed to obey, Black turned back to his wall of trophies. Skulls, weapons, and artifacts from hundreds of conquered species lined the walls. Each told a story of triumph, of superior Ravager strength and cunning. Soon, he thought, there would be new trophies to add to his collection. "One more thing," he added, turning back to Lieutenant Gray. "Have they detected us yet?" "No, Commander. Our cloaking technology is far beyond their scanning capabilities." "Good. Let them enjoy their final days of peace. Soon they'll learn what it means to be prey." Black's claws clicked against his armor as he clenched his fists. "Send word to the hunting fleets. Tell them we found new game." As the orders went out, none of the Ravagers felt any doubt about the outcome. They had never lost a hunt, never failed to conquer a species they targeted. They had no way of knowing that this hunt would be different, no way to know that for the first time in their history, they were about to become the prey. The hunt for Earth was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Ravager scout ships entered Earth's atmosphere under the cover of darkness. Commander Black watched from orbit as his elite hunters breached the planet's defenses without triggering a single alarm. Or so he thought. "Sir," Lieutenant Gray's voice carried an unusual note of concern. "We're detecting multiple radar installations tracking our scout ships." "Impossible," Black growled. "Our stealth systems are perfect." But the evidence on the screens couldn't be denied. Somehow, these primitives had spotted them. Before Black could process this information, the situation got worse. "Incoming aircraft," Gray shouted. "Multiple fighters approaching our scouts." Black watched in disbelief as primitive jet aircraft engaged his scout ships. The human vehicles were technically inferior in every way, but they moved with shocking agility. Their pilots showed no fear, diving straight at the alien craft with reckless determination. "This is unacceptable," Black snarled. "Destroy them." The scout ships opened fire, expecting an easy victory. Instead, the human pilots scattered, using complex maneuvers that seemed to defy their aircraft's capabilities. 2 scouts fired their advanced energy weapons and missed completely. "Commander," one of the scout pilots reported, "they're using the planet's atmosphere against us. Their understanding of aerial combat is unexpected." Then the humans counterattacked. Missiles launched from the jets, far more advanced than the Ravager's scans had suggested. 3 scout ships exploded before they could react. Black slammed his fist into his command chair. "Impossible. They're primitives." "Sir," Gray's voice shook slightly, "we're detecting military responses worldwide. They're coordinating their defenses. These humans, they were prepared for us." More scout ships fell from the sky. The human pilots had learned from the first exchanges, adapting their tactics in real time. They used cloud cover, terrain features, and coordination that shocked the Ravager forces. "Pull back," Black ordered. "All scouts, return to the ship immediately." But the humans weren't finished. As the surviving scouts retreated, they faced another surprise. Ground-based weapons opened fire. Advanced anti-aircraft systems, hidden from initial scans, filled the sky with a deadly network of explosions. "How?" Black demanded. "How do they hide these weapons from us?" "Sir," Gray studied his readings. "They've been preparing. Underground bases, hardened bunkers, dispersed forces. They knew someone would come from the stars eventually. They've been getting ready." In the command center, the Ravagers watched in stunned silence as more of their primitive opponents demonstrated military capabilities far beyond their expectations. Human submarines surfaced to launch missiles at the retreating scouts. Space-based satellites tracked Ravager movements with surprising accuracy. Of the 20 scout ships that entered Earth's atmosphere, only 7 made it back to the command ship. Black paced in his command center, his claws clicking against the floor in agitation. "This was supposed to be an easy hunt," he growled. "Instead, we've suffered losses. Actual losses. To primitives." "Commander," Gray reported, "we're intercepting their communications. They're not panicking. Their military forces are mobilizing with surprising efficiency." And he hesitated. "What?" "They're excited, sir. They're soldiers, they're leaders. They seem almost eager for the fight." Black stared at the blue planet below. In all his years of hunting, he'd never seen prey act like this. Every other species had reacted with fear, confusion, or desperate resistance. But these humans, they acted like they'd been waiting for this moment. "Send word to the fleet," Black ordered. "We need reinforcements. These humans," he bared his teeth in frustration, "these humans are not what we expected." As the message went out, the Ravager command ship detected something new. Launches from Earth's surface. Dozens of them. The humans were sending their own ships into space. "They're coming to us," Gray asked in disbelief. Black watched the approaching human vessels with a new emotion he'd never felt before. Uncertainty. For the first time in Ravager history, the hunters had become unsure of their prey. The real battle for Earth was about to begin, and nothing in the Ravagers' long history of conquest had prepared them for what was coming. In the research chamber of the Ravager command ship, lead scientist White stared at the data screens with growing concern. Behind him, Commander Black waited impatiently. "Well," Black demanded, "what have you discovered about these humans?" White gestured at the biological scans. "Commander, these creatures are remarkable. At first glance, they seem weak. No natural armor, no claws, limited strength compared to our warriors. But," he pulled up new images, "their true strength lies elsewhere." "Explain." "They're pursuit predators, Commander. In their early history, they hunted by chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They can run for hours, even days. Their bodies are incredibly efficient at cooling themselves through something called sweating." Black approached the screens. "Running, that's their great ability." "No, sir. That's just the beginning." White showed footage from Earth's military training. "Look at how they train. They deliberately put themselves through hardship. They push their bodies to the limit and beyond. They call it building endurance." The screens showed humans in various environments: freezing mountains, burning deserts, dense jungles. In each scene, they were carrying heavy equipment, moving with purpose. "Their bodies adapt," White continued. "They can survive in almost any environment. Hot, cold, high altitude, underwater. They've learned to live everywhere on their planet. And look at this." He pulled up historical records. "Their warfare history is extensive." Black studied the images of human battles through the ages. "Primitive weapons. Yes, but watch how quickly they advance." White played a rapid sequence showing the evolution of human weapons, from spears to guns to nuclear weapons in just a few thousand years. The speed of their technological development is unprecedented. "That still doesn't explain how they detected our scout ships," Black growled. "Actually, it does." White showed new data. "They're paranoid, Commander. Their entire history is filled with conflicts, but these conflicts drove innovation. They're constantly preparing for threats, even ones they haven't met yet. They build weapons to fight enemies they only imagine might exist." The screen showed military installations, research facilities, and defense systems scattered across Earth. Many were camouflage, hidden underground, or disguised as civilian structures. "Their entertainment media is particularly telling," White added, displaying scenes from human movies and books. "They've been imagining alien invasions for decades. They've played out countless scenarios of how to fight beings like us. When we arrived, they weren't surprised. They were prepared." Black's expression darkened. "Are you saying they knew we were coming?" "No, Commander. I'm saying they were ready for anything. Look at this psychological data." White showed brain scans. "Humans have a remarkable ability to handle stress. When faced with danger, many of them don't freeze. They become more focused, more determined. All species fight when cornered," Black dismissed. "Not like this," White insisted. "Humans don't just fight. They adapt. In the scout ship battle, they learned our tactics in minutes. They analyzed our weapons and adjusted their strategies immediately. And here's the most disturbing part." He pulled up communication intercepts. "They're sharing everything they learn about us. Globally, former enemies are cooperating, pooling resources, combining their knowledge." Commander Black paced the chamber, his claws clicking nervously. "What are you suggesting?" "Sir, in all our history of conquest, we've never encountered a species like this. They're not just trying to survive. They're treating this as a challenge to overcome. Some of them actually seem to be enjoying the opportunity to prove themselves." The chamber fell silent as Black absorbed this information. Finally, he asked, "Can they be beaten?" White hesitated. "Technically, yes. We have superior technology, more ships, better weapons. But," he looked at the screen showing humans preparing for battle, "they won't give up, Commander. Every defeat will teach them. Every loss will make them stronger. And they'll never stop coming for us." For the first time in his long career, Commander Black felt something he'd never experienced before: doubt about the outcome of a hunt. The humans weren't just prey that fought back. They were something entirely new, and they were getting stronger every day. Commander Black watched as the Ravager war fleet emerged from hyperspace around Earth. 500 ships, each bristling with weapons that could level cities. This would be no mere hunt. This was full-scale invasion. All ships in position. Lieutenant Gray reported. The humans have detected us. Of course they have. Black growled. Begin the attack. Show them what real power looks like. The Ravager fleet opened fire, expecting to overwhelm Earth's defenses easily. Instead, they met a wall of countermeasures. Defensive satellites, previously hidden behind the moon, launched waves of missiles. Human space stations revealed hidden weapon systems. They've studied our weapons, Gray said, surprise in his voice. They're targeting our weak points. Black slammed his fist on his command console. Impossible. How could they learn so much from one battle? The answer came from an unexpected direction. Human ships appeared from behind debris fields, using salvage technology from the destroyed scout ships. In just weeks, they had reverse-engineered Ravager systems and combined them with their own technology. Sir, a technician called out. They're using our own shield frequencies against us. On the main screen, Black watched in horror as human ships, covered in makeshift armor, rammed through Ravager shields. They weren't just fighting. They were adapting Ravager technology in ways the aliens had never imagined. Launch ground forces, Black ordered. We'll crush them on their own planet. Ravager dropships descended through Earth's atmosphere, but the humans had prepared for this too. Hidden bunkers opened across the planet's surface. Underground bases revealed massive defense systems. Every city had been turned into a fortress. Commander, Gray's voice shook slightly. They're using guerrilla tactics. Hit and run attacks. They strike, then disappear into underground tunnels. We can't pin them down. The reports kept coming in. Human soldiers were using captured Ravager weapons. Earth's scientists were already improving them. What took the Ravagers centuries to develop, humans were modifying and enhancing in days. Sir, look at this. White, the lead scientist, burst into the command center. They're teaching each other our technology through something called the Internet. Global cooperation. Military forces sharing tactical data. Scientists worldwide collaborating on countermeasures. Black watched the battles raging across Earth's surface. His forces had superior technology and strength, but the humans, they were everywhere. They fought from the mountains, the seas, the air. They struck from sewers and subway tunnels. They turned their own cities into deadly traps. Another carrier lost, Commander, Gray reported. They'd figured out how to bypass our engine shielding. Impossible, Black roared. These are primitives. No, sir, White corrected, studying battle data. They're innovators. Look, they're not just using our technology. They're improving it, making it their own. They've learned more about our systems in weeks than we've learned in centuries. The screen showed human forces adapting faster than the Ravagers could respond. When Ravager ships blocked their communications, humans created new networks. When Ravager weapons jammed their guidance systems, humans switched to manual control. Sir, Gray said quietly, we've lost 20% of the fleet. Our ground forces are taking heavy casualties. The humans, they're not running. They're not surrendering. They're getting stronger. Black stared at the battle displays in disbelief. His mighty invasion force, meant to crush these primitives once and for all, was instead being picked apart by constant adaptation and unconventional tactics. Commander, White added, there's something else. Other species are watching. The ones we've conquered. They're seeing that we can be fought, that we can be beaten. For the first time in Ravager history, their perfect record of conquest was in danger. These humans weren't just fighting back. They were threatening everything the Ravagers had built over thousands of years. and the battle was far from over. The Ravager command ship shook violently as another explosion rocked its hull. Commander Black steadied himself against his command chair, watching in disbelief as human ships swarmed his fleet. "How?" he demanded. "How are they doing this?" Lieutenant Gray brought up the tactical display. "They've modified their ships with some kind of phase technology, sir. They're passing right through our outer shields." The humans had done the impossible. In just 2 months of fighting, they hadn't just learned to counter Ravager technology. They'd mastered it. And now they were pushing back. "Sir," a junior officer called out, "human forces have breached the defense line around Mars. They're using our own jump drives." Black watched the battle unfold. The humans had taken the Ravager's prized faster-than-light technology and improved it. Their ships appeared and disappeared at will, striking from impossible angles. They moved in ways that should have torn their vessels apart. "Commander," White rushed into the command center. "You need to see this. The humans, they're broadcasting our defeats." "What?" "To every conquered system in our territory. Somehow they've hacked our communication networks. They're showing other species how to fight us, how to resist." The main screen showed images of human victories being transmitted across the galaxy, footage of Ravager ships falling to Earth's defenders, data on shield frequencies and weapon vulnerabilities, technical specifications for improved versions of Ravager technology. "Reports coming in from the outer colonies," Gray announced, his voice shaking. "Rebellions, sir. 3 systems have already overthrown their Ravager governors. They're using human tactics." Black's claws dug into his command chair. The humans weren't just defending themselves. They were actively undermining the entire Ravager empire. Centuries of careful conquest were unraveling in weeks. "Launch the planet killers," Black ordered desperately. "We'll destroy their world entirely." "Sir," Gray hesitated. "Our planet killer ships, they're gone." "What do you mean, gone?" The tactical display showed the graveyard of Ravager superweapons. Human strike teams had targeted them first, using stolen phase technology to plant bombs inside their cores. The Ravager's ultimate weapons had been eliminated before they could even be used. "New contact," a sensor operator shouted. "Massive energy signature approaching." On the main screen, a human vessel appeared, but it was like nothing they'd seen before. It combined Ravager technology with human innovation in ways that shouldn't have been possible. "That ship," White studied the readings in awe. "They've completely redesigned our propulsion systems. They're using principles we never even considered." The human vessel opened fire. Its weapons cut through Ravager defenses like they didn't exist. More ships like it emerged from Earth's shipyards. The humans had been building them in secret, preparing for this moment. "All ships, retreat," Black ordered, but it was too late. The human fleet moved with devastating precision. They didn't just attack, they herded the Ravager ships into killing zones. They predicted every defensive maneuver, countered every tactic. "Sir," Gray reported grimly, "we're losing ships faster than they can retreat." The humans, they're not just fighting us, they're hunting us. The irony wasn't lost on Black. The great hunters of the galaxy had become the prey, and these humans were proving to be far more efficient predators than the Ravagers had ever been. "Commander," White said quietly, "you need to see these psychological readings. The humans, they're enjoying this. They see it as payback for all the species we've hunted. They're not just fighting for themselves anymore." Black watched his mighty fleet being systematically torn apart by creatures he dismissed as primitives just months ago. The humans hadn't just learned to fight Ravagers, they'd learned to beat them at their own game. And they were teaching others to do the same. The tide hadn't just turned. It had become a tsunami, and the Ravager Empire was about to drown in it. Commander Black stood in the ruins of his command center, watching emergency lights flash across broken screens. The mighty Ravager fleet, pride of their empire, lay scattered across Earth's solar system in burning pieces. "Status report," he growled. though he already knew how bad it was. Lieutenant Gray, his uniform scorched and torn, checked the remaining functional displays. "Sir, human forces have pushed beyond Mars. They're attacking our bases on Jupiter's moons. And," he hesitated, "we've lost contact with the homeworld." Lost contact. Black's yellow eyes widened. How? The answer came from a new voice, a human transmission cutting through their supposedly unbreakable communications network. The message played throughout every surviving Ravager ship. "Attention Ravager forces," a calm human voice announced. "Your central command has fallen. We're inside your home system. Your defense fleets are in ruins. Your hunting days are over." Black roared in fury, but deep inside, a new emotion was growing. Fear. Real, primal fear. The kind his species had inspired in others for thousands of years. "Sir," White burst into the command center. "The humans, they're everywhere. They've spread through our empire faster than we thought possible. They're using our own jump points, but they've modified them somehow. They can move entire fleets instantly." The screen showed human warships appearing in system after system, but they weren't just destroying Ravager forces. They were liberating conquered worlds. Species that had lived under Ravager dominion for centuries were rising up, armed with human weapons and tactics. "Commander," Gray reported, "the humans are broadcasting our biological data to every system. Our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities. Everything. They're teaching other species how to fight us." Black watched helplessly as his empire crumbled. The humans had taken everything the Ravagers were proud of: their technology, their tactics, their reputation for invincibility, and turned it all against them. "New contacts," a sensor operator shouted. "Multiple signatures. They're coming out of hyperspace." The main viewer showed a sight that made even Black's armored skin crawl. Human ships emerged by the hundreds, but they weren't alone. Vessels from dozens of other species flew alongside them. Former slaves and victims of Ravager hunts, now armed with advanced weapons. "This is impossible," Black whispered. "We are the hunters. We are the apex predators of the galaxy." "No," White said, studying the battle data. "We were the apex predators. Until we found someone better at it than us." The humans and their allies struck with devastating precision. They didn't just attack. They hunted. They predicted Ravager movements, cut off escape routes, and systematically dismantled what remained of the once mighty fleet. "Sir," Gray reported, his voice shaking, "they're not just defeating us. They're studying us, learning our patterns. The humans, they're treating us like we treated others, like prey." Black watched as more Ravager ships fell to the combined fleet. The humans had united the galaxy against them, turning thousands of years of fear and hatred into a weapon more powerful than any technology. "Commander," White called out, "look at these readings. The human ships, they're not even using their full capabilities. They're holding back, testing new tactics. They're using this battle as training." The final insult. The humans weren't just beating them. They were using the fight as practice, just as the Ravagers had once used lesser species for hunting practice. A new transmission cut through their systems. "Attention, Commander Black," the human voice was cold, precise. "Your species spent millennia hunting others. Now you know what it feels like to be hunted. Surrender now, or become extinct. You have 1 hour to decide." For the first time in his life, Black understood true fear. His species had created a galaxy of victims, and now those victims had found champions. The humans hadn't just beaten the Ravagers. They had replaced them. The hunters had become the hunted, and their time was running out. In the Great Hall of Earth's new Galactic Council, Commander Black stood before representatives of 100 different species. His once proud armor was stripped of weapons and rank insignia. Around him, former prey species watched with a mixture of satisfaction and caution. The human leader stepped forward. Admiral Stone, the commander who had led the campaign that brought down the Ravager Empire, looked remarkably small compared to Black. Yet the Ravager commander found himself unable to meet the human's gaze. "The terms are simple," Stone announced. "The Ravager Empire will surrender all military vessels. Your hunting fleets will be dismantled. Your conquered worlds will be freed. In exchange, your species will be allowed to survive." Black's claws twitched. "And if we refuse?" "Then we finish what you started," Stone replied calmly. "We've proven we can hunt your kind to extinction. Don't make us prove it again." The gathered representatives murmured in agreement. Species that had once cowered at the mere mention of Ravagers now stood tall, armed with human technology and confidence. Lieutenant Gray, standing behind Black, whispered urgently, "Commander, we have no choice. The humans control our core worlds. They've disabled our best weapons. Half our population centers are surrounded by their fleets." From his position near the council table, lead scientist White added his own analysis. "They're not just stronger, sir. They're smarter about power. Look around. They're not destroying us. They're rebuilding the galaxy, making alliances. They're creating something new." Black looked around the hall. Humans worked seamlessly alongside former prey species, sharing technology, coordinating defense plans. They hadn't just beaten the Ravagers, they'd united the galaxy. "Very well," Black growled. "The Ravager Empire surrenders. But tell me, human, what happens to us now? Do we become your prey?" Admiral Stone smiled, but there was no cruelty in it. "No, Commander. That's the difference between us. We don't need to hunt. We don't need to prove our superiority. We build, we grow, we protect. Your species can be part of that, if you choose." The terms of surrender appeared on the Great Hall's screens. The Ravagers would keep their homeworld and colonies, but under supervision. Their technology would be shared with other species. Their history would be preserved as a reminder of what happens when power is abused. "Your people have skills," Stone continued. "Knowledge of the galaxy. Experience in space travel. Use those skills to help rebuild what you destroyed. Show us that hunters can learn to create instead of destroy." As Black signed the surrender documents, he noticed something surprising. The humans weren't gloating. They weren't even celebrating. They were already working on next steps, organizing relief efforts, planning reconstruction projects, establishing communication networks. "I don't understand," Black admitted. "You beat us. You could destroy us. Why show mercy?" A human scientist stepped forward, Dr. Green, who had reverse-engineered much of the Ravager technology. "Because that's what makes us different. We didn't fight you to become the new tyrants. We fought you to end tyranny." The council session ended with the formal dissolution of the Ravager Empire. As Black watched humans and former prey species working together, he finally understood what his kind had missed in their thousands of years of hunting. True strength wasn't about being the most powerful predator. It was about bringing out the best in others. The humans hadn't just conquered the Ravagers. They had changed the very nature of power in the galaxy. "One last thing, Commander," Admiral Stone called as Black turned to leave. "We found your trophy room. We're turning it into a museum. A reminder that the galaxy's greatest predators weren't defeated by superior weapons or stronger warriors." "What defeated us then?" Black asked. Stone smiled. "Something your kind never understood. The power of unity. Turns out humans aren't the apex predators you thought we were. We're something far more dangerous. We're builders, teachers, and protectors. And we're very, very good at it." As Black left the council chamber, he realized that the age of hunters was over. A new era had begun, one where strength meant more than the power to destroy. The humans had changed everything. And somehow, that was more terrifying than any hunter could ever be.